Unable to survive, with nothing to lose. Unpaid wages and ignored rights enrage workers, leading them to set factories on fire. The trend spreads, setting China ablaze with rebellion. Chinese society is like a giant pressure cooker on the verge of exploding. Letters calling for a nationwide uprising have emerged, signaling that a revolution may be approaching. Tens of thousands vie for one job as China's job market deteriorates, leading the CCP to backstreet vending. The manufacturing boom is over and China faces a full-scale recession. Hong Kong tycoons are frantically slashing prices to liquidate luxury homes. Shanghai's housing prices have plummeted 60%. Even billion-yuan luxury mansions, cut in half, find no buyers. What is the power of the U.S. Golden Dome defense program, and why is the CCP concerned? Welcome to New Century, your space for reliable news and thoughtful insights. Unable to survive with nothing to lose. Unpaid wages and ignored rights enrage workers, leading them to set factories on fire. The trend spreads, setting China ablaze with rebellion. In recent years, China's economic downturn has led many companies to delay or withhold employee wages. Workers across various regions, unable to recover their salaries, have resorted to extreme measures, such as setting factories on fire, to protest. However, the Chinese Communist Party government often responds to these wage disputes with detentions and other punitive measures, escalating tensions and pushing society toward a breaking point, like a pressure cooker ready to explode. On May 20th, 2025, a fire broke out at a textile factory in Pingshan County, Yibin City, Sichuan, burning for 37 hours without being fully extinguished, with thick black smoke billowing from the site. Multiple sources revealed that the factory owner owed an employee 800 yuan, approximately 111 USD, and after repeated failed attempts to collect the money, the employee set the fire. On May 22nd, Pingshan County Police reported that at around 12 p.m. on May 20th, the suspect, Wen, a 27-year-old male, started a fire in the factory workshop, causing the blaze. Insiders claimed that after the owner refused to pay the 800 yen, the employee stabbed the accountant and, declaring, "We're all going to die anyway," set the factory ablaze. Some commented, "This is a tragic story. It happened opposite my house." It wasn't about a month's salary, but 800 yuan withheld. The guy, born in 1998, 27 years old, caused over 80 fire trucks from Chengdu and Mianyang to be dispatched. The fire couldn't be extinguished. He didn't just fight, he stabbed the accountant. The incident resonated with workers, many of whom said, "For a worker, 800 yen could cover a month's living expenses for their child. For the boss, it's not even enough for a meal. Don't push low-wage workers too far." Chinese netizens were divided. Some criticized burning down the factory over 800 yen, as it destroyed the livelihoods of all workers. Others argued that risking one's life over 800 yen shows how desperate the underclass has been pushed. One netizen noted, "What's alarming is that the comment sections are full of support for the guy. Public sentiment is clear." Many netizens hailed the arsonist as Brother 800, spreading his heroic image upon arrest. This stance reflects deep resentment among the underclass towards social injustices under CCP rule. The trend of setting factories on fire to demand wages appears to be spreading, with desperate Chinese workers becoming increasingly reckless. Since late 2024, multiple factory fires have been reported as workers, unable to afford to return home for the Lunar New Year, resorted to arson. When factories reopened in 2025, the fires continued with even greater intensity. According to Sound of Hope, a fire broke out early on February 17th, 2025, at a warehouse in the Higher Industrial Park, Gangcheng, Zhangbei District, Chongqing. The fire raged for over 7 hours, completely destroying the warehouse. Insiders stated that the industrial park owed workers wages, and after failed attempts to recover them, workers set the fire as an act of revenge to demand long overdue salaries. On December 7th, 2024 in Pinghu, Jiaxing, Zhejiang, at Yueqing Packaging, netizens reported that the factory refused to settle workers' wages. With no recourse and the CCP government labeling their demands as malicious wage claims, workers set the factory on fire, feeling they had no other way to survive. Video footage showed thick black smoke billowing into the sky, visible from afar, with netizens reporting loud explosions and the arrival of fire trucks and ambulances. Commentator Li Muyang posted on X that Zhongxi Technology Company in Yongkang City, Zhejiang, laid off several employees without proper compensation, sparking labor disputes. Facing protests, the company used various tactics to force workers out. On the evening of December 19, 2024, defiant employees set the company building on fire in protest. Additionally, a factory near Dalian Bay in Dalian City, Liaoning Province, faced labor disputes and reportedly used violence to expel workers demanding wages. The beaten workers retaliated by setting the factory on fire. Li Muyang remarked that wage dispute conflicts are emerging across China, with protesters adopting each other's methods. He speculated that this trend could rapidly spread nationwide. Ex-user Diren Media posted that on December 21, 2024, a factory in Taikang City, Jiangsu Province, caught fire, with thick black smoke soaring into the sky. Due to ongoing labor disputes, exploited workers sought help through various channels but saw no improvement. Left with no options, they resorted to the extreme act of setting the factory on fire. Among those demanding wages, some successfully recovered their owed salaries, but others were administratively detained by police for malicious wage claims. Due to CCP censorship, news of these incidents represents only the tip of the iceberg. What is the root cause of these issues? As China's economic downturn worsens, the CCP has increasingly relied on censorship and police crackdowns to suppress unrest. Authorities actively remove videos of protests and industrial fires from social media. Riot police are deployed to disperse demonstrations, while local governments largely ignore workers' pleas for intervention. Despite these efforts, discontent continues to spread, and labor protests are becoming more frequent and intense. For decades, China's economic growth relied on an implicit deal, prosperity in exchange for political compliance. However, as economic conditions deteriorate and wages go unpaid, workers are resisting in ways the regime struggles to control. The scale of recent labor protests and factory fires suggests that censorship and repression are no longer effective deterrents. The Chinese public is increasingly skeptical of the state's ability to protect their rights. On social media, many express disillusionment, with one comment stating, "The number of shocking events is piling up. It's challenging everything we once believed." The growing unrest signals that the CCP's long-standing model, economic stability for social compliance, is under threat. The fires engulfing Chinese industry are not just acts of arson. They symbolize a working-class push to its limits. As factories continue to burn, they send a powerful message that Beijing cannot easily extinguish. The Chinese government now faces a serious challenge. What happens when the workers who fueled the nation's rise refuse to be ignored? For Xi Jinping and the CCP, this crisis is not merely an economic setback. It is a political confrontation. The fires spreading through Chinese factories are a warning. The unrest is just beginning. Chinese society is like a giant pressure cooker on the verge of exploding. Letters calling for a nationwide uprising have emerged, signaling that a revolution may be approaching. In December 2024, several documents titled "A Letter to the People of the Nation" were circulated at a labor market in Guangzhou, directly blaming the Chinese Communist Party. The letters describe society as a pressure cooker under CCP rule, where no one escapes unscathed. They urged people to reject being government slaves, rise up and overthrow the Communist Party. Similar notices advocating for the CCP's overthrow have also appeared in Wuxi, Jiangsu. China's economic environment continues to deteriorate. Many foreign enterprises are withdrawing, numerous factories are closing, and unemployment is rising. College graduates struggle to find jobs, and ordinary citizens face immense survival pressures. Public resentment has reached a boiling point, with society resembling a high-pressure cooker ready to burst at any moment. Recently, indiscriminate attacks, such as stabbings and vehicle ramming incidents, have become more frequent, alongside a rise in public protests. Kevin Slayton, head of the Freedom House office in Taiwan, told Radio Free Asia that most recent protests in China are tied to economic issues, with three-quarters involving unpaid wages, unfinished housing projects, or land seizures. He noted a significant increase in protests due to the economic downturn and observed a growing trend of protesters directing their frustration toward the government. Slaughton explained, protesters may initially target companies, for instance, over delayed property handovers or unpaid wages. However, many protests gradually shift focus to the government. One reason is the expectation that the government will intervene and support the people. Another is that protesters begin blaming the government, attributing these issues to inadequate oversight and regulatory failures. For problems like unfinished housing projects, many property owners believe government negligence is partly responsible. He added that when the government fails to intervene or resorts to suppression and stability maintenance tactics, protesters feel the authorities are not fulfilling their promises of economic prosperity. This fuels public dissatisfaction and undermines the CCP's legitimacy. Chinese human rights lawyer Wu Xiaoping told Radio Free Asia, the CCP's judicial system cannot resolve ordinary people's disputes because it is a party-controlled authoritarian apparatus. It fails to uphold social fairness and justice, instead exacerbating people's problems. The judicial system often creates more societal issues. As citizens cannot resolve their grievances through fair, reasonable, and low-cost methods, they are forced to protest and resist to seek justice. They are essentially driven to desperate measures. Wu further stated that China's judicial system is plagued by severe corruption and collusion between officials and business interests. If economic disputes continue to favor those in power without reform, the frequency of protests will only increase. Tens of thousands vie for one job as China's job market deteriorates, leading the CCP to backstreet vending. The manufacturing boom is over, and China faces a full-scale recession. A blogger shared, graduate students are struggling to find jobs. I've been sending resumes for 4 months, but no company has hired me. With firms downsizing, their teams are already full. A friend who studied in the UK joined a major factory in June but was laid off last month. Even with advanced degrees, we can't find work. What can we do? China's economy is declining, and with a growing number of graduates, youth unemployment remains high. According to Xiaopin, only 55.5% of 2024 college graduates found jobs, leaving nearly half unemployed. Amid this challenging job market, Beijing has reversed its opposition to the street stall economy and now promotes it. Desperate for income, many graduates are turning to blue-collar jobs like ride-hailing, food delivery, or courier services, but these sectors are rapidly becoming oversaturated. The pressure for credentials has fueled a surge in civil service exam applications, with over 3.4 million applicants in 2025, sometimes with 10,000 people vying for a single position. In May, a humanities master's graduate on Douyin complained about sending 8,000 resumes without securing a job, saying it's harder than winning the lottery. Even graduates from top universities like Tsinghua and Peking, once highly sought after, now face fierce competition. How are Tsinghua, Peking, and other 985 graduates faring? What's life like for them in big cities? I've worked at a major internet firm for years, surrounded by elite university graduates, including those from Tsinghua, Peking, and overseas returnees. But when company performance falters, even they face sudden unemployment. A blogger asked, are there young people earning millions annually? Yes, but that was during China's economic boom, and such cases were rare. You've likely seen videos of high-earning internet or finance workers with million-yuan salaries. When they lose their jobs, the impact is devastating. In first-tier cities, monthly mortgages often range from 10,000 to 20,000 yuan, 1,400 to 2,800 US dollars, not including car loans, meaning the higher your salary, the greater your financial risk. China's economy is under immense pressure. Despite the CCP's protect jobs rhetoric, the street stall economy is gaining traction again. On May 12th, an X-user, News Focus Tracking, posted, "The State Council's latest decision, fully open the street stall economy with urban management providing unconditional support to help struggling citizens find a livelihood, so they no longer have to eat cold steamed buns." The street stall economy, championed by former Premier Li Keqiang as a vibrant way to stabilize employment and support the underclass, was once opposed by Xi Jinping. Now, Beijing's aggressive promotion of this grassroots measure signals a lack of viable alternatives amid economic challenges. However, stall owners report that the market is oversaturated. On May 6th, a vendor shared a video. "In this small area with little foot traffic, 7 stalls are selling cold noodles or cold powder. I'm one of them on my 26th day of vending. It's barely profitable, and I might have to quit." Street vending is now more competitive than running a physical store. I spoke with a friend who's been vending for 10 years, and he said the low entry barrier makes it cutthroat. Unlike my pig's feet rice shop, which requires a 20,000 to 30,000 yuan investment, a basic stall cart costs just 2,000 to 3,000 yuan. Many people vend after work to supplement their income, sometimes earning 300 to 500 yuan, 42 to 70 US dollars a day, which feels more lucrative than their regular jobs. In Nanning, where salaries average 3,000 to 5,000 yuan, some quit their jobs to vend full-time. However, vending has a critical flaw. Income is unstable. Vendors don't consistently earn 300 to 500 yuan daily, and sometimes they outnumber customers. Many online view China's rapidly growing street vending economy negatively. Some complain that vendors have become uncontrollable, occupying both sides of two-way roads and blocking traffic, severely disrupting daily commutes. There's also growing concern that vendors are driving small restaurants out of business. When these restaurants close, their owners may turn to street vending, creating a vicious cycle. Some believe the Chinese government is turning a blind eye to the surge in street vending, out of fear that rising unemployment could spark widespread unrest. By allowing vendors to operate freely, authorities may be attempting to ease public tension. Ultimately, the street vending boom reflects economic decline and a dire job market. High-profit industries have shifted to low-wage service sectors, and people are struggling to earn enough to survive. They no longer trust the government to provide job security. This is a clear sign that China's era of global manufacturing dominance is crumbling. Hong Kong tycoons are frantically slashing prices to liquidate luxury homes. Shanghai's housing prices have plummeted 60%. Even billion-yuan luxury mansions cut in half find no buyers. According to Bloomberg, Hong Kong's property market is enduring a prolonged downturn, with recent sales of luxury properties at reduced prices by tycoons adding further pressure. Due to defaulted loans, a luxury detached house in Pok Fu Lam, owned by Hong Kong's cassette king David Chan Ping-chi, has been put on the market by receivers in yet another distress sale. The property, seized by lender Fubon Bank to recover unpaid debt, is located at 188 Victoria Road. Valued at 430 million Hong Kong dollars, approximately 55 million US dollars, this Seaview property features a 3-story house with a basement, a private driveway ensuring a high level of privacy, and an 18,000 square foot garden. The report also highlights that Dr. Thomas Tang, CEO of Crown Champion Group Listed, and his sister, Wendy Liu, sold properties worth approximately 2.2 billion Hong Kong dollars this year, including luxury homes, offices, and a retail shop. Despite previously writing in a column that one should not sell their primary residence, Tang sold his owner-occupied duplex at Villa Bel Air in Tai Tom for 138 million Hong Kong dollars, approximately 17.6 million US dollars in March. Additionally, tycoon Ho Chung-bun sold 7 luxury properties on the peak last year to repay personal loans. According to Hong Kong's O1, a mansion at 28 Mount Davis Road, owned by Ho's family, was sold for 1.05 billion Hong Kong dollars, approximately 134 million US dollars. Bloomberg analysts note that while steady demand from investors and mainland Chinese buyers supports the residential market, Some investors facing significant losses from commercial property investments are selling residential properties to settle debts. However, this wave of sales is putting additional strain on Hong Kong's already struggling property market. Real estate experts predicted that 2025 would see increased transactions, with over 20 luxury properties priced at $50 million or above entering the market. Data indicates that current property prices are 29% lower than their 2021 peak. The Hong Kong Monetary Authority reported that, as of March, negative equity residential mortgages reached 40,741 cases, the highest since the 2003 SARS crisis. U.S. media reported last year that Hong Kong's economy is closely tied to mainland China, and as China's growth slows and prices decline, Hong Kong's property market is feeling the impact. As early as September 2020, pro-Beijing Hong Kong politician Regina Ip, chairwoman of the New People's Party, wrote about her walk along the scenic Bowen Road, where she was shocked to see numerous sale listings for luxury properties posted along the trail. Ip learned from friends that the number of luxury properties for sale was unusually high, with many belonging to tycoons or wealthy individuals exiting the market. She attributed this trend to factors such as the 2019 protests, the ongoing pandemic, and, most crucially, a loss of confidence in Hong Kong's future, prompting these individuals to sell assets and leave. China's property market is also witnessing a significant collapse, with Shanghai as a prime example. A blogger described Shanghai houses as half-price houses. In Huaqiao, prices have dropped by approximately 60%, and investors are facing substantial losses. The dream of buying a house in Shanghai with a 30% down payment has shattered. According to data, over 3,200 homes in Huaqiao are listed for sale, with prices falling from 23,000 to 24,000 yuan per square meter to about 11,000 yuan, approximately $1,531 now. Shanghai blogger Lily said she saw a video showing a house in her neighborhood, similar to hers, listed for only 2.3 million yuan. She was shocked to realize her own house had lost 500,000 yuan in value. Blogger Ming Yu, a Shanghai real estate professional, believes house prices are unlikely to rise in the future. In most areas, prices have already fallen by over 50%. Many homeowners are waiting for a rebound, thinking houses are like stocks, that when they fall to a certain point, they'll bounce back. However, Ming Yu asserts that prices will not recover. She argues that an oversupply of inventory, combined with declining marriage and birth rates in a struggling economy, makes a rebound unlikely. Young people today are hesitant to buy houses, take out loans, or start families, and many have unstable incomes, further discouraging home purchases. For decades, Chinese homeowners have viewed real estate as a reliable way to store wealth. However, as China's economy continues to slump and the property market crashes, many homeowners are facing mortgage pressure due to unemployment. What is the power of the U.S. Golden Dome Defense Program, and why is the CCP concerned? On May 20th, U.S. President Donald Trump announced the launch of the Golden Dome Missile Defense Program, designed to create a multi-layered defense system across space and ground to counter missile threats from China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. This initiative has caused significant unease in Beijing. On Wednesday, China accused the U.S. of pursuing absolute security. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning described the Golden Dome plan as highly offensive, warning it could escalate a space arms race and undermine global security and arms control systems. Reuters has compiled detailed information on the Golden Dome, covering its inspiration, operational mechanics, and reasons for China's concern. Capabilities of the Golden Dome system. 1. Space interception. The core of the Golden Dome plan involves deploying hundreds of satellites equipped with advanced sensors and interceptors to detect and neutralize enemy missiles during their boost phase when they are slower and their trajectories more predictable, resulting in higher interception success rates. 2. Ground defense. Alongside the space layer, the Golden Dome will integrate existing ground-based interceptors in California and Alaska with potential new defense layers to form a multi-tiered defense network. 3. Inspiration. Drawing inspiration from Israel's Iron Dome, The Golden Dome is far more ambitious in scale and technology, aiming to establish a global defense network capable of countering intercontinental ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, and cruise missiles. Why is China concerned? U.S. military leaders have repeatedly warned that China and Russia are developing advanced missile technologies that surpass current U.S. defense capabilities. The Golden Dome seeks to address this gap. In an Oval Office speech on Tuesday, Trump stated he expects the system to be fully operational before the end of his term in 2029, emphasizing its ability to intercept missiles, even launched from space. China and Russia have deployed offensive space weapons, including devices capable of disabling critical U.S. satellites, leaving the U.S. vulnerable to potential attacks. Trump remarked, "We will complete the work President Reagan began 40 years ago, fully eliminating the missile threat to the American homeland." The Trump administration has appointed U.S. Space Force Vice Commander General Michael Geetlane to lead the Golden Dome program. Companies competing for contracts include SpaceX, Palantir, Anduril, and traditional defense giants like Lockheed Martin, L3Harris, and RTX. L3Harris has invested $150 million in a new facility in Fort Wayne, Indiana, to produce satellites for tracking hypersonic and ballistic missiles. These satellites are a key Pentagon project to enhance space-based sensing capabilities for detecting and tracking hypersonic weapons, and will be integrated into the Golden Dome system. The Golden Dome program represents a major shift in U.S. global defense strategy, with an estimated cost of $175 billion, including an initial $25 billion investment as part of a $1.5 trillion defense plan. Thanks for being with us here at New Century. Don't forget to subscribe and share your perspective in the comments. Until we meet again, stay informed and stay safe.